Yo, what's up, fam? I hope everybody good. Hope everybody taking care of themselves. Hope everybody's strong, healthy. Hope your families are good, strong, healthy. Listen, I just want to share this real quick. And I was talking to a client about this that I just got finished cutting. I really believe that when New York wins, everybody wins. And the reason why I'm saying that is that New York is one place in this country that is truly representative of the melting pot that America is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's here as far as New York is concerned. You know what I mean? Like, New York is not just like, a Japanese state, or it's not just, a state for the Italians or, Filipino or black or white or anything like that. Everybody's in New York. You know what I'm saying? And so you look at a lot of other states and it's kind of lopsided. You know what I'm saying? You look at LA, it's lopsided. California. You look at you look at Arizona, it's lopsided. You know what I'm saying? You look at a lot of different states. You look at Georgia, it's lopsided. You know what I mean? But when you really look at New York is the best representation of the melting pot that this country is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And so I really feel like when New York wins, everybody wins. Everybody has an opportunity to feel a part of what's going on. Everybody can cheer for what's going on. There's a lot of people who has family in New York. That's everywhere. And I heard a statistic that say 1 out of every 10 Americans is from New York. You know what I mean? Whether they live in New York or not, from New York. You go to a party anywhere in this country and somebody start yelling, "Where Brooklyn at?" I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. We're still talking about New York though, but the whole place will erupt. You feel me? Because New York is everywhere. So we take that term very seriously. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And we test that. We cut our teeth, we thicken our skin in New York, we grow up, you know what I'm saying? In New York, we develop in New York, and then we take what we learn in New York and we bring it all over the world. And I believe we're like that special spice, man, that, changes the flavor of the whole meal. Not something that just blends in like tofu or anything like that, but, like salt. You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, I think it's something special, especially when you have individuals with the right mind, with the right spirit that's, coming to share with the right intentions. There's a lot that New York brings to every environment. You know what I'm saying? And so when we do it, man, things become special. They come far beyond normal. They go from, plain to phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? It goes from average to awesome when New York comes on the scene. And I'm not saying that to downplay anybody from anywhere else. I just know where I'm from, and I know the impact of where I'm from, what it has on people that go there, people that come to New York from Africa. I've had conversations with them, people that come to New York from Japan, from China. I've had conversations with them, people that come to New York from London, from Australia. Don't forget, I'm a barber. I cut all different types of people. People that come from New York, from New Jersey, people that come from New York, from Philly, people that come to New York from California, from Phoenix, Arizona, people that come to New York from Nigeria, people that come to New York from Thailand, from all over the world. Everybody gets impacted when they come to New York, or when they connect with people that are from New York. You know what I'm saying? So they take a piece of New York with them when they have an opportunity to experience it. And so they always are in a position where they can't wait to go back. I've never heard anybody say, "Well, I'm never going to New York again." You know what I'm saying? It's always a place where they want to have another taste. They want to have another experience. They want to have another chance. You know what I'm saying? To get, create another memory in New York. It happens all the time and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, people have family in New York. They have friends in New York. They have experience in New York, right? And it comes to the point where it gets so deep ingrained inside of them that they get to the point where they start to claim New York. So when New York wins, they take it as a personal win because they have some type of connection with New York. You know what I mean? So that's why I say too, when New York wins, everybody wins. I would be not surprised at all if this year's finals has one of the greatest ratings ever. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody should watch it because I believe everybody's going to be inspired. You don't have to be a fan of basketball. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to know who the players are. You don't have to know what colleges they went to. You know what I mean? You don't have to know any of that. But there's something you're going to be able to extract from watching this series, watching New York play. You know what I mean? Watching the New York fans. There's a lot that I've learned from Spike Lee. And watching Spike Lee and how he does everything he does with excellence. You know what I mean? Even as a fan, he's an excellent fan. Truly committed. There's no denying who he's with. You can see it from head to toe, from his hat to his coat or jacket or vest, whatever he's wearing, hoodie, t-shirt. You know what I mean? From the type of watch that he might be wearing on that day, the type of shoes he has on. You know what I'm saying? You could tell, like, with the way that he walks, with the way that he talks, with the way that he, you know, respects the players, speaks to the players, whether they're on New York squad or they're on an opposing team. You know, he sets a standard of excellence with everything he does, not just with his, you know, production of films or directing of films. You know what I mean? I mean, you see it in his relationship. Like, he loves his wife. He's locked in, solid. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why, like, you can't shame a man like that from being a fan of that team. He said he's had season tickets since, I think he said, Patrick Ewing's rookie year. Season tickets. You know what I'm saying? He has a Hall of Fame ring as a fan, the greatest fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that we can learn just watching what's going on. I just saw a video of Jalen Brunson walking around the court before the game with his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a picture of fatherhood that we don't see enough at all. This is taking place in representation of New York. We have real fathers in and from New York. You know what I'm saying? Not all men are out here just making babies, not taking care of their babies. Not all men are out here just being bad examples of a father. But we have men here being good examples of fathers that we can take a look at, that we can learn from. And if we're not a good father, we can learn to be a better father watching Jalen Brunson. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's so much you can extract from this. You see the city of New York, what they did in, you know, painting the subways and, you know, putting props everywhere and stuff like that in representation and support of the team. So when you're coming from anywhere, you can go there, and before you even, you know, hit the court, you can start feeling that buzz. You can start feeling that feeling because the whole city is electric right now. You know what I mean? And you could pick up from some of that and apply it to whatever it is that you're doing. Whatever it is that you're pursuing. You might have a dream. You might have a goal. You know what I'm saying? You might have something that you're really looking to accomplish. Jalen Brunson, he's only 6'2". You know what I mean? And the tallest man on the opposing team is 7'4". You know what I'm saying? Wemby is 7'4". But he's not looking at that with a spirit of intimidation. Like, he knows who he is and he knows what he can do. You know what I'm saying? And he's playing his game. He's fighting his fight. He's not comparing himself to Wemby, you know, being 7'4". He's still going hard, and we should do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? With how we are living our life, we may have competition. We may have oppositions, you know what I'm saying, that are going against, you know, something that we're pushing for, something that we're striving for, something that we're looking to accomplish with our lives. But we have to understand that, you know, disruption always comes after intention. We're always going to have some type of opposition. But that opposition is not to make us shrink, to make us run away, to make us fall back. That opposition is created to encourage us to step up to the plate and to do better, to build us up, to make us stronger. You know what I'm saying? To make us more focused, more determined, to teach us, you know, the areas that we need to improve in, you know, areas that we might be weak at, things that we might be looking at and kind of be self-conscious about. But to take a look at it and say, you know what? This is how God made me. These are the tools that I've been given. So I'm going to take the tools that I've been given and also build new tools and new skills in order to be able to meet and overcome all obstacles in my path. You understand what I'm saying? And if we have that mentality, there's nothing that we're not going to be able to accomplish. You know what I mean? I was taught, I had that mother where I was taught that, you know, you could do anything you put your mind to, right? So I grew up believing in myself. I grew up believing that, you know, there wasn't an opponent that I couldn't beat. I grew up believing that, you know, there wasn't a goal that I couldn't accomplish. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I knew all that I had to do was to work harder. So I got up early, you know what I mean? And I stayed late and I studied and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. Even when it comes to this barber game, you know what I mean? There was no internet when I got started. It was 1989. There was no internet. So that means there was no YouTube. There was no Google. There was no school. You know what I mean? It was the school app. You know, there was none of that stuff. There was no Zoom. I couldn't get on Zoom with anybody and learn anything that way. Like, these options weren't available. So I had to learn how to cut hair the hard way. There was no magazines that were showing you the step-by-step. You know what I'm saying? I had no access to books that was able to show me the step-by-step. I was too young to hang out in barbershops. I was 13 years old. So in my hometown, there's a lot of things that were going on in barbershops that 13-year-olds didn't need to be around. You know what I'm saying? So I had to ask God to teach me how to cut hair. And there's a lot that I've learned just the hard way, trial and error. And sometimes when I made mistakes, bro, I got roasted, you know what I'm saying, in school. And, you know, those are the type of things that will make the average person quit. It'll make the average person give up. It will make the average person say, you know what, you know, this is not for me. You know what I'm saying? But I grew to the point where it's like, man, I got to get this. And, you know, when it's something that you really want, when it's something in life that you really want to accomplish, like, you have to do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the DeWitt mentality. Do whatever it takes. And that's what we're seeing, you know, and this season. This is way more about just basketball. You know what I'm saying? Some people try to just like shrink it down to it being just about a sport. It's far beyond that. It's far beyond that. There's life lessons we learn in the game. You know, those of us who have been athletes, you know, sometimes we're reminded of some life lessons that we learned while we were playing the game. You know, I played intramural basketball in high school. You know what I mean? Because by the time we were allowed to play sports, I grew up in a very strict household, and it's a long story. But by the time we were allowed to play sports, I thought it was too late to try to go for the school team. So I played for my local community center. You know what I'm saying? I played intramural basketball, and I enjoyed it. You know, ran track for a little while from my high school. You know what I mean? And, you know, played football in the streets. And there's a lot that I've learned. There's a lot of areas that I've grown in, you know, playing this game. And even in video games that I've played, there's a lot of things that I've learned playing in video games. It sharpened my hand-eye coordination, you know, my skills to be able to kind of like figure things out, you know, problem-solving skills and things of that nature. It helped me to also, you know, get control over my emotions, you know, even in sports as well. Because sometimes you're upset and you want to punch your opponent in the face or something like that, you know what I'm saying, or do something disrespectful to them. But you learn to like really focus in. You learn to really get in control of your emotion and, you know, use the skills that you have and the grit that you have and the hustle that you have in order to be able to win the game. You know what I'm saying? Your ability to figure things out. You know, you lean into that, you know, and you learn and you figure out how to win. And I mean, it's a powerful thing, man, when you really think about it. But it's just something, man, that I think that if we continue to look deeper into, like, don't just stop at the surface. You know what I'm saying? Take a deeper look, take a better look, take another look again. And then you'll have the opportunity to be able to see something great, not outside of yourself, but to see something great within yourself. And you figuring out, like, man, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? I can get to the top. I can achieve these goals. I can make this dream become a reality. I can go ahead and to bring the things that I've always wanted to bring into manifestation. You can really take a deeper look at this situation and really get a win, man. Instead of just saying, oh, that's for them. Oh, that's their thing. You know, or that's what they're into, or that's what they got going on. There's a lot of that we can learn from life if we just study it and not just take things for granted. You know what I mean? If we just, like I said, take a deeper look, go beyond the surface, you know? So I hope this helps somebody. I don't know. I just want to share that, man, because this is what I really believe. When New York wins, everybody wins, man. You can extract victory using somebody else as an example. You can extract victory in your own life, in your own business, in your own family, learning from somebody else, looking at somebody else, taking notes and lessons for somebody else. You know, one of the reasons why they used animals in fables to teach these lessons is because it kind of has you calm, right? And open to be able to receive the lesson that is being taught, you know, because if they use an example of a human being, you would probably think in the back of your mind, oh, you know, that person was able to do this because he's big and strong. That person was able to do that because of the fact that they came from this pedigree. This person was able to do this or that because, you know, these type of people have elders in their communities, in their villages that help them to learn this and that. But they use animals because of the fact that it puts your guard down and it opens up your mind to receive wisdom from the lesson. And so I'm hoping that we can take a look at these teams that are playing in these finals and put our guards down and receive the lessons that are being taught right now, because right now these lessons are free. You know, life lessons and lessons about prosperity, lessons about winning are very expensive when you have to learn them with your own resources, with your own time, with your own energy, with your own mental capacity. They're very expensive. But when you can learn lessons from other people, when you can learn lessons in life that'll help you win in your life from other people's experiences, then, you know, it's very inexpensive. I can't necessarily say it's free, but it's very inexpensive because you still have to pay attention. So it's very inexpensive to learn lessons from those examples that you can apply to your own life. So you can go ahead and get the wins that you need, not just for you, but the wins that you need for the people who are dependent on you. So let's continue to extract wins wherever we can get them from, because I've learned to do that at a very young age, and it was out of necessity. You know what I'm saying? But it's something I continue to do because of the fact that, you know, I've learned a lot from what I've had to do earlier in life. So, yeah, so let's do what we have to do so we can do what we love to do. But I'll holler at y'all later. I love y'all. Peace and blessings. Let's get these wins. Peace.